against misinformation? And how should Undi 18 be rolled out and what impact would it bring? That's coming up. The Emergency Ordinance to act against fake news is a short-term remedy to deal with misinformation concerning COVID-19 and the emergency proclamation. It is not a tool to silence the people, says Communication and Multimedia Minister Datuk Saifuddin Abdullah.
The law, he said, was only meant to handle fake news so it does not cause panic and concern among the public. Saifuddin, in a joint press conference with de facto Law Minister Datuk Sri Terkini Hassan, said that court proceedings on such cases remain the same and the Criminal Procedure Code exercised in courts are maintained. Beginning today, those who create, publish or disseminate fake news relating to COVID-19 or the emergency proclamation could face a fine not exceeding 100,000 ringgit or imprisonment for a term not exceeding 3 years or both. Takiuddin also explained it would be up to the discretion of the judge to determine an appropriate amount for the fine. He assured the ordinance would end once the emergency is lifted.
Community pharmacists are now included in the priority list of frontliners to be vaccinated for COVID-19. Health Minister Datuk Sri Dr. Adam Babar said that they are included under Category 2 of the first phase of the National Immunisation Programme. The new addition will benefit nearly 4,000 community pharmacists in the country. As of 11 March, 50% of frontliners, or a total of 249,909 people, have already received their first dose of the vaccine. Selangor leads with a total of 29,208 vaccinations, followed by Sarawak and Kuala Lumpur. Khairi Jamaluddin has asked Inspector General of Police Tan Sri Abdul Hamid Badur not to go after a whistleblower who claimed that staff members of the Kelantan State Secretariat had tried to cut queue to get the COVID-19 vaccine. In a tweet, Khairi said while he doesn't want to be seen interfering with the work of the police, he clarified that he spoke with the IGP to leave the whistleblowers alone. He was responding to a Twitter user who had asked him where the protection was for whistleblowers and why the whistleblower in the Kelantan case was being investigated as a suspect. Dato' Seri Abdul Aziz Abdul Rahim today failed in his bid to quash corruption charges against him. The former Tabung Haji chairman is facing 3 corruption charges pertaining to road projects in Perak and Kedah, as well as 10 charges for money laundering.
High Court Judge Datuk Muhammad Jamil Hussain dismissed the application on grounds that all the charges made against Abdul Aziz were not defective and based on the provisions of law. Following the High Court's decision, Abdul Aziz's trial is scheduled to continue next Monday at the Sessions Court. The Baling MP is facing 3 counts of bribery involving 5.2 million ringgit linked to road projects in Perak and Kedah, and 10 counts of money laundering involving nearly 140 million ringgit, while his brother, Datuk Abdul Latif Abdul Rahim, is charged with abetting him. Gombak MP Datuk Sri Azmin Ali has filed an application to strike out a lawsuit filed against him by 10 constituents. On November 27, the group of Gombak voters sued Azmin for alleged deceit and breach of fiduciary duty for leaving the Pakatan Harapan coalition and joining Perikatan Nasional. In the court document, Azmin said the lawsuit did not have a reasonable course of action.
Undi 18 is again in the spotlight after political leaders and civil society brought it up again. It has been widely reported on the importance of implementing this amendment, which was passed unanimously in 2019. However, the more pertinent question is how should it be rolled out and what impact will it bring to the country's political landscape? Shan Gom of Undi Sabah shares his thoughts.
I feel the implementation of Undi 18 is really important. And why do I feel so? One is because, when you're 18 years old, you will be considered an adult in Malaysia. And if you're already 18 years old, if you can get married, if you can get a driving license, why can't you get the right to vote? I mean, because the policies in Malaysia indirectly affects you, and you should have a say in it as well. And also the second thing is because, when 18-year-old gets the right to vote, this would create a new narrative in the political scene, and then future politicians would have to think about the needs of 18-year-olds now and how to satisfy those needs in their campaigns. And I feel that it would create a new paradigm shift in this political landscape here in Malaysia. And how do I feel it should be rolled out? Well, to talk about this, a lot of people argue that the implementation of Undi 18 is delayed because the automatic registration of voters might take a long time. So I feel that if the automatic registration of voters takes a long time, then why don't we just allow these 18-year-olds and above to register first, and to vote in the next coming election, and then after that we would think about and implement the automatic voters registration.
So how will the civil society like Undi Sabah continue the struggle to realize the implementation of lowering the voting age to 18 years old?
As the program coordinator of Undi Sabah, which is a campaign under Undi 18, we will act as the pressure group along with local NGOs to continue to push for the implementation of Undi 18. Besides that, we will continue to raise awareness, especially to those 18-year-olds 18 to 21 and also 18 below, on the importance of voting and why they should vote. Because we personally feel that when these youths are empowered, and then they will start advocating and talking about the importance of the Undi 18 bill, and it will create more accountability. It will help politicians accountable to their promises of lowering the voting age to 18-year-old, and hopefully sooner or later that it will be implemented.
We'll take a short break. Stay with us.
Dav dengan Maisela dan Oxygen.
Bila sentuh soal berita, tiada masa untuk tunggu. Kepada anda kami bawakan fakta, susulan dan kupasan yang terkini. Tiada drama dan tiada pengulangan. Usah tunggu lama-lama. Awani 7.45 lebih awal dari biasa.
Kini berwajah baru.
Ini pula susulan khas pesawat Back Air di Kazakhstan. Pesawat berkenaan dilaporkan tergelincir 2 kali.
Notifikasi berita terkini dan navigasi mudah. Podcast dikemas kini dengan berita dan program.
Rebirth, Reformasi, Resistance and Hope.
Serta video tanpa had dengan scroll tanpa henti. Buat turun aplikasi baru Astro AWANI sekarang.
Gagalan Kerajaan Persekutuan Tunai Janji.
Welcome back. The global pandemic impacted economies worldwide, Malaysia included. While the unemployment rate in the country is high, a job market survey found that companies are still hiring. But what are the sectors that are hiring, and what are the set of skills in demand? Sarayamia has the story.
Malaysia's economy contracted 5 to 6% in 2020. As a result, real person income fell while unemployment increased. But on the bright side, 33% of companies in the country are still looking to hire in 2021, according to job market survey by Michael Page. In the same report, they found that 66% of those who are currently employed are looking for new job opportunities. Regional Director of Michael Page Malaysia, Nick Chambers, shares what to expect in hiring activities in 2021 and beyond.
At 4.9%, the employment rate is high for Malaysia, but compared to a number of other developed economies around the world, it is still relatively low. In terms of the areas in where we're seeing a lot of growth and activity, look, it'll come as no surprise that technology is really at the forefront of hiring activity. We've seen an entire workforce shift to working from home, and with that comes a digital transformation that spans across the entire org chart. With more companies moving to the cloud and more data going online, as you would expect, there's an increase in hiring activity for cybersecurity professionals. But what underpins all of that digital transformation really is the talents in software development. And we've seen a continued increase in demand for talent across all sectors of software.
Meanwhile, Nick said the recent upward trend in hiring activities on a contract or part-time basis is seen to be a positive.
Typically Malaysia didn't have a huge temporary and contractor market. We've seen a 110% increase in hiring activity year on year in contracting roles, so that's certainly a positive. And that's more in line with more mature markets as well, where there's a very strong temp and contractor market. I do also think that Malaysia is able to position itself as a go-to location for global business services and manufacturing hubs as well. And we've already seen an increase in organisations in employment trends, the talent available in the market, as they look at Malaysia as a location to set up hubs in the near future. So whilst Malaysia may feel that they're feeling the pinch at the moment, you know for sure that other economies are feeling it worse. And that could really well into Malaysia's hands as more companies and direct foreign investment comes into the country.
He also added the employment market will continue to improve once vaccine rollout progresses.
Thailand temporarily suspended the use of AstraZeneca Oxford vaccine as fear grows over blood clot-related deaths in Europe. Denmark, Norway and Iceland halted the use of the vaccine as a precautionary measure, although no direct link between the vaccine and the reported deaths has been confirmed.
On Monday, Austria announced the death of a 49-year-old nurse from severe blood coagulation, days after getting the AstraZeneca jab. Following this, several other countries, including Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Luxembourg and Italy, also agreed to halt the use of the vaccine. As of March 9, 22 cases of blood clots had been reported among more than 3 million people vaccinated with the AstraZeneca vaccine in the European Economic Area.
Scientists found the Novavax vaccines to be 96% effective in preventing COVID-19 infections caused by the original variant. The vaccine, which is one step closer to being approved, was also found to be 86% effective in protecting against the new and more contagious variant in the United Kingdom. Meanwhile, the American-made vaccine showed a 55% efficacy rate in a trial conducted in a location prone to the highly contagious South African variant. Novavax Chief Medical Officer Filip Dubovsky said the performance in South Africa suggests there may still be a case for using it in areas where the South African variant is dominant. On to updates in Myanmar. South Korea is the latest country to suspend defense and security exchanges in protest of the military coup. South Korea said it will ban exports of arms, reconsider development aid and will allow Myanmar nationals to stay in the country until the situation improved. Protests continued on Friday after 12 protesters were reportedly killed the day before. United Nations human rights investigator Thomas Andrews told the UN Human Rights Council in Geneva that the military may have committed crimes against humanity. He said on Thursday the military junta had murdered at least 70 people since the coup. More than half of those killed were under the age of 25. Meanwhile, more than 2,000 people have been unlawfully detained. A total of 65 journalists and media workers were killed worldwide while doing their jobs last year. That is 17 more than 2019.
According to the International Federation of Journalists, the killings took place in 16 different countries during targeted attacks, bomb attacks and crossfire incidents. For the fourth time in 5 years, Mexico topped the list of countries where the most journalists were killed, with 14 killings, followed by 10 deaths in Afghanistan. In addition to the deaths, the IFJ said at least 229 journalists were in prison across the world as of March 2021 because of their work.
How is the aviation industry preparing for the resumption of air travel as the world contemplates open borders? Tonight on Consider This, we speak to Vinod Goel, Asia Pacific Regional Director of Airports and External Relations, IATA, on safeguards and confidence. That is all we have for you on AWANI tonight. Get the latest news update on COVID-19 and COVID-19 vaccines from astroawani.com and Astro Awani app. I'm Farhana Sheikh. We'll see you next week.